The HighScope educational approach has been implemented in a wide range of educational and care settings, including public and private preschools and nursery schools, daycare centers, Head Start programs, public school pre-kindergarten programs, and family daycare homes. Many of these settings are presented in this video to show how general curriculum guidelines can be implemented in a variety of ways.
Well, we could either leave the carpet here, or my idea is to move it over by the door. So that
On this side when they come in, or on this side over here when they come in?
I've never, either way.
Because I'm wondering if we want to keep the block and the house area near each other. So basically what we're going to do is take the blue carpet and the blocks and move everything over to this area, and then your whole house area is going to be moved over to this area.
Right, so greeting time will be here with the dry erase board, and that'll give children less opportunity to wander in the classroom. They'll come right in, hang up their things, and they'll be greeted right here, a much shorter distance.
And we can actually play up the book area a little bit more because they have that little corner there that we could use. So.
Cozy little book area nook. Okay, so table goes here.
So we got to get the big things out of this area to move in the house area.
Right.
What's nice about these shelves is that they roll.
Yes.
The physical setting plays an important role in how young children work, play, and learn. In HighScope programs, creating a setting in which this can happen, that is, selecting and arranging appropriate materials and equipment within the designated space, helps to provide young children with a range of developmentally appropriate active learning experiences. One of the most important ways adults can scaffold or encourage children's learning is to set up an engaging play environment that attracts children, accurately reflects children's interests, and addresses all aspects of children's development. In planning the setting, caregivers think carefully about both indoor and outdoor spaces because learning takes place wherever children play. An element too often missing from classrooms is the feeling that the space is comfortable and inviting. To make your program welcoming, include carpeting, soft furniture and pillows, fabric, structures to climb inside and under, private nooks and crannies, potted plants, and shelves or tables with rounded corners. Finally, avoid an overly bright toy store look. Include natural materials and natural colors. In establishing an active learning environment in the classroom, center, or daycare home, adults should consider 3 important factors: arranging the play space, choosing materials, and storing materials. When deciding where the play areas will be located, think about the overall size of the space available, the program's day-to-day needs, the location of necessary facilities such as water faucets and drains, the lighting, and the kinds of floor coverings available. Since the art area is bound to be messy, locate it on a tile floor and near a water source if possible. Natural daylight through a window or glass door is also a plus in the art area. For times during the day when you meet as a large group, be sure to provide a space large enough to accommodate the entire group, or use furniture that can be easily repositioned to create room. Locate areas for quiet play away from areas for louder, more active play. It's also important to provide space near the entrance where children can hang their outdoor clothing and store personal belongings. Each child's space can be labeled with a name and personal symbol or letter link. That is, a picture of an object that starts with the same letter and sound as the child's first name. The arrangement of indoor space in many HighScope settings includes a block area, a house area, an art area, a book and writing area, and a toy area. That is an area for small manipulative toys. While these areas are perhaps the most commonly seen, there are many other possibilities. For example, your program may include a sand and water table and a computer area, a woodworking area, and a music area. As a general rule, it is better to stick to a few basic areas in which children have room to play and learn. With fewer areas, children can mentally organize the space without being overwhelmed by too many choices. This also provides children of all developmental levels with ample room to carry out and build on their play ideas.
If you're ready for message board, clap your hands. We need everyone.
HighScope teachers create messages using pictures, words, numbers, and symbols to help children anticipate the day's activities. Teachers typically gather the children around the message board wherever greeting time takes place.
These are all materials that you can use in our classroom. If you wanted to make a plan to play with these things, where would you have to go to find them?
A well-organized and diverse learning environment helps children anticipate where they would like to play, who they would like to play with, and what they would like to do.
Should we go over and see what toys you want to use and figure out? That says toy area.
A planning and decision-making process that is critical to the development of children's thinking.
Toy area with the beads, just like here.
Distinct learning areas and thoughtful arrangement of areas in relation to one another invite children into more complex play that can touch on a variety of curriculum content. For example, placing the block area next to the house area encourages children to build things to carry out their role play ideas.
Look at how the train moved. It started in the block area and it went all the way around to the toy area.
When planning the indoor learning environment, remember that children should be able to build, create, and construct things in areas that are outside the room's normal traffic patterns. In addition, if possible, make sure all the play areas are visible from every location in the classroom. Children have an easier time making choices and decisions when they can see what is going on throughout most of the room. Once you have decided which play spaces you will have in your program, choose names for the areas that children can understand. Avoid adult-oriented names like gross motor area. Use signs with the area name and a simple symbol to help children identify the areas and place them at children's eye level. Because the play areas are clearly defined and well organized, children learn that they can use a variety of materials in their play and that these materials are easy to find and reach.
You're pointing. What are you pointing to? You're looking at the block area. I wonder if you're planning to use blocks.
To help children see the distinctive play spaces in the classroom, establish visual boundaries by using low furniture and area rugs, or by placing tape strips on the floor.
How much water should we put in? Put lots in this one.
Different kinds of floor coverings, such as tile near the water table and carpet in the block area, may also be used to define an area. On the playground, you can use larger equipment and different kinds of surfacing to define the play spaces. The space for wheeled toys may be defined by asphalt surfacing, and the spaces for play structures by wooden borders and pea gravel. In allocating space for activity areas, remember that children play alone, engage in parallel play, and play cooperatively. Consider making the block area large enough to enable children to build large structures and use the structures for pretending. Children will need plenty of room in the house area for dress-up and role play. In the art area, arrange the space so that children have the freedom to explore and create with a variety of materials and room to play both by themselves and together. For the outdoor area, make sure the children have plenty of space for active physical games and pursuits, as well as for quiet activities like exploring nature or reading. Finally, remember the number of children who can play in a given area should not be restricted. Children should not be turned away because an area is too crowded. As the year progresses, and as the interests, needs, and abilities of the children develop, modify and add to the existing areas to accommodate these changes. For example, if you find children making props with art materials to support their play in the house or block area, consider whether these areas should be closer together or whether the traffic flow between them can be simplified.
Would you like me to hold the scissors for you so you can hold the tubes?
When planning the outdoor space, don't limit your thinking to energetic activities. In addition to designating areas for vigorous activities such as running, riding wheeled toys, and climbing, designate space for less active pursuits, such as building things, gardening, drawing, or telling stories. Place these spaces far enough away from the active areas so that children wishing to engage in quiet activities are not disturbed. The next step in arranging the play space is to choose materials for the activity areas you've defined. Since children learn best when they are actively involved in what they are doing, we must provide materials that reflect and build on their interests. Introduce or provide materials that support and extend children's immediate interests. If you observe children losing interest in materials over time, remove them from the classroom and add new items that reflect their current interests. If you reintroduce materials at a later time, they may recapture children's interests and/or be used in new ways.
So you can use some, and it looks like Jameer is going to put one in.
Children want to be like adults. Imitating grown-ups is one powerful motivator for their learning, including real, everyday items that adults use, such as tools, old appliances with the cords cut off, calculators, cell phones. Briefcases and adult-sized clothing allows children to learn about these objects as the children role-play, build, and problem-solve.
How did you make it so big?
In every active learning setting, adults need to provide materials that will meet and extend children's existing levels of development.
What makes it stick together?
This is how we scaffold their learning. If we stock an area with books and puzzles that serve a wide developmental range, for example, we will meet the needs of more children and allow each child to grow at his or her own pace.
How much blood he has?
2, 3, 4, 5.
5 pints of blood.
I put mustard in
Well, why do you think he has so much blood and she only has a little?
On the playground, having different kinds of wheeled toys available enables children of different ability levels to have the experience of riding, powered and coordinated by their own muscles.
Where are you going to have your front part? Over there will be the front where you're going to lie down and wait for the bad guys. Do you want to make something that you could lay on?
Since children are attracted to materials that challenge their existing skills and abilities, we should provide items that can be used in a variety of ways.
Just lay on the floor. It looks like the cats have something in mind. I wonder what they're doing.
Open-ended, non-specific materials such as blocks,
Finished?
Yeah.
You worked really hard on that.
paper,
I worked it all day.
You worked almost all of work time to make all those colors. It took a lot of work.
wood scraps,
Tell me about how you're going to use the wood, Christian.
string,
Hey, there's some still on there.
All right, what's the next step?
boxes of all sizes,
Do you want this to be the top, or do you want this to be the top?
This to be top.
This to be the top?
cardboard tubes, glue, and tape encourage children to be creative and solve problems.
Not leaning anymore.
Providing multiple sets of materials or multiple copies of single items will prevent conflicts about who uses popular materials and tools and enables children to share and build on one another's ideas.
That's the one Mingan was holding, Omari. Check with him. Yeah, let's use these, Omari.
Thanks.
You need some help putting yours together? You asked him and he's letting you use it? Yeah, you asked him and then he said it was okay.
As you observe children's play, you will notice certain behaviors that indicate children are developing important abilities in particular curriculum content areas. We call these behaviors Key Developmental Indicators, or KDIs.
Stacking things, you can figure out different ways to put them together. See how you can figure out what to do with them.
Some examples of KDIs are pretending and role-playing, a KDI in the arts category. Sorting and matching, a KDI in the science and technology category.
We need some more polar bears. I wonder if there's any more in there. Oh, there's one. There's 3.
Keeps getting madder at me because I'm not her friend anymore.
And building relationships with children and adults, a KDI in the social and emotional development category.
That she's playing with the trains right now. Meredith, it sounds like Amaya would like to play with you and Joshua and DJ.
The following are high-scope curriculum content areas: approaches to learning, language, literacy, and communication, social and emotional development, physical development, health and well-being, mathematics, science and technology, social studies, the arts.
As I can, I'm still working on my car. I'll be right over.
This one's not tied enough.
Stock items throughout the classroom that invite children to engage in all these areas of early learning. For example, in the art area, stock materials for making both 2- and 3-dimensional creations and materials for holding things together, such as tape and glue.
Try tape.
In the house area, include materials for pretend play.
So you're putting some soap in the washing machine?
Yeah.
Now where would this guy go?
He goes, here.
Oh, even lower.
In the block area, stock materials for building and representing. In the toy area, keep materials for sorting and for taking things apart and putting them back together. In the book and writing area, along with books and magazines, you might keep a variety of writing implements and papers.
Is it okay if I keep it? Okay.
Don't throw it in the garbage.
I won't. How about if I put it up by my shelf so I have it?
In the movement and music area, keep musical instruments, props for dancing, and equipment for playing music.
That in ballet. The top of the carrot plant gets the sunlight, and under the ground is where the carrot grows.
This is a carrot?
Yeah, this is going to be a carrot. It's kind of a...
Throughout the areas, stock math and science-related materials that can be used for identifying and comparing, making sets, series, and patterns, and counting and measuring.
What are those numbers? 3, 5.
A gallon.
35 a gallon? You're 35 a gallon.
For the outdoor area, have static structures, such as those for climbing, wheeled toys,
Lude, are you playing? I don't think he's playing anymore.
and a variety of loose materials, such as balls and sand materials,
Way down deep.
including natural and found materials.
Really cool.
Pretty cool, huh?
Keep paper and writing tools in several areas so they are handy for children and adults when a writing opportunity arises. We know that children engage in different types of play based on their evolving thinking, reasoning, language, and social skills. Some types of play you might observe are exploratory play, in which children explore the properties and functions of materials and tools.
Floors in it.
It's really tall.
It's a really tall one, isn't it?
Constructive play, in which children make and build things, and pretending.
You cook it.
For exploratory play, provide items with a wide variety of appearances,
That one looks bigger.
sounds, textures, smells, and taste, such as rough and smooth rocks, tissue paper and water,
She turned hers a different color, you guys.
scented Play-Doh, garlic presses, and noisemakers. For constructive play, provide blocks of various sizes, shapes, and materials, as well as cardboard containers. Pretend play items include dress-up clothes, large pieces of fabric, blankets or sheets, corks,
Wanted to use that one too.
bowls,
Would you like your pear?
You have to get a bowl.
Oh.
and old computer keyboards. Many of these items can be used both indoors and outdoors.
Box of ice cream.
When it comes to math and science, we find it is better to include math and science materials for children to explore throughout all the areas of the room, rather than having a separate math and science table or area. This is because children explore math concepts such as number, geometry, and measurement, and engage in the preschool scientific method, observing, classifying, experimenting, predicting, drawing conclusions, and communicating ideas.
You know what 1 and 4 is? 14 inches.
When working with many different materials throughout the classroom.
Yeah, in Chinese, there are two characters to say Chinese.
Diversity includes not only culture, ethnicity, and language, but also such things as family composition, ability levels, and special needs.
Mosque is a place where we go to pray, just like you guys, Christians go to churches. Mosque to pray.
Socioeconomic status, occupation, physical appearance, age, and so on. Having photographs, books, magazines, dress-up clothes, dolls, play figures, food containers, and cooking utensils, assistive devices, art materials and illustrations, and other materials that represent people from a wide range of backgrounds and physical and mental abilities can help children begin to understand that there are many differences in people. Avoid materials that present stereotypes of genders or groups. Once materials are selected, think carefully about how you will store them. To support children's active involvement with materials, you must make them accessible. Therefore, store materials so children can reach them. Place materials on the floor in sturdy containers or on low, open shelves so children can locate the materials themselves. Conversely, non-play materials that you don't want children to use, such as cleaning supplies, should be stored out of the children's reach. Because young children explore the world through their bodies and their senses, they will often make choices about what they want to play with based on what they see. Storing materials in plain view, for example in open baskets and see-through containers, and within reach of children, allows the children to feel in control of their environment and enables them to follow through on their own ideas and interests.
Why they go to the they go to the picture?
They go to the picture, right?
Encouraging children's active involvement in finding, using, and returning materials also helps develop their classification skills as they learn to match materials to others when finding them and putting them away. Store similar materials together. For example, store all the things that fasten materials together, such as glue, tape, and staplers, on one shelf in the art area.
Joey, this is the toy area here. Look on the shelf and see if you can find them. There they go.
When making labels, use words along with other non-word representations, such as drawings, tracings, catalog pictures, photographs, or the material itself. This strategy accommodates the different rates at which children acquire literacy skills. Secure labels to both the containers and the containers' places on the shelves. You can use clear contact paper for both, or you can laminate the labels for taping to the shelves. In some instances, you may be able to attach an actual item to a container as a label.
Before we leave, we need to put the toys away.
Accessibility and consistency are important outdoors as well as indoors.
Go find 3 more things, everybody. See if you can get 3 more things in here.
Although you may need to keep equipment secured in a locked storage shed, children can still play an active role, taking the equipment out and returning it at the end of outside time.
Thank you. Lock it up.
In this video program, we've discussed guidelines for establishing activity areas that promote developmentally appropriate, active learning experiences for young children. But the most important guideline is this: children learn best by planning and engaging in activities of their own choosing.
So you're going to play with the Duplos? Are you going to use the motorcycles like you did yesterday?
Scaffolded by well-informed adults who understand children's needs and the importance of establishing an active learning environment. Adults who provide such an environment lay the foundation for age-appropriate learning experiences, enabling children not only to develop, strengthen, and extend their skills, abilities, and social interactions, but also to enjoy the active learning process.
Turning them into toys again.
So in your typical preschool classroom, you would have your basic areas, which would include the book area, your toy area, your house and your block, and your art area. This is the book area, and in our book area we have, of course, books, both large books as well as your normal size books, a variety of types of books. Some reading and writing type materials like letters and puzzles that include letters, different types of letters.
And numerals too.
Numerals.
Forget the numerals.
That's right. Writing materials, chalkboard, envelopes. Last year we actually had a pen pal set up with another program, which worked really well, and we'll see if we can get that started going again.
And then the writing desk right here, so kids can actually have a spot to sit down and write if they'd like to.
A little soft area with the couch and the pillows and the stuffed animals. And then we move into our toy area. So that children they're not so overwhelmed at the beginning of the year. But then as we see children's interest, we'll be bringing up other materials and adding those to the shelves and switching things out. We have, in the toy area, it's typical types of materials, the Legos and the Duplos, the people, the shells. We've got some shells and animals.
And make sure that you have natural materials, so that everything's not just plastic. So there's natural things as well. We've got shells, and we also have some soft materials, very open-ended things, these little soft puppets or stuffed animals. Scarves they can use. And you wouldn't necessarily know that this would go in the toy area, but it's so open-ended that kids could use this for a lot of things with the small toys as well as for movement and music.
And we have some musical instruments on the other side that they can use with those scarves. The block area is one of the largest areas in our program because a lot of the children tend to use the big blocks and they spread out quite far. Or they'll use big blocks and small blocks at the same time. As well as the train sets, like today at our open house, they really, they stretched them clear across the whole carpet. We also use this area for our large group time. So we tend to scoot the art, this art cart back so that we have room, and then the kids move around the circle for a large group time.
That's been a good strategy if you don't have a lot of space, just thinking about how you can move your furniture back to create the space. What else is here?
This is also where we meet for greeting time, so we'll have message board in this area, and we use the daily routine that's up on the wall to refer to the different parts of the day.
So then our hollow blocks are also stacked by size, and we've put labels on the bottom, so when all the blocks are out, children know where to put them back by the label. And we've also included labels here on the window so that they can match labels up here as well.
Because we noticed last year that kids were getting, because these two sizes, if you put them together, they look like this size, and they were stacking them together because they couldn't see the label on the floor, so we chose to put it on the wall as well.
Our house area and our block area are connected or adjacent because we find that children who enjoy doing a lot of pretend play in the block area then can use the materials from the house area very easily. They can go back and forth between the two areas, and they connect really nicely. For example, steering wheels here, kids might get dressed up, build a car with the blocks, drive someplace.
Or play doctor. We've got doctor materials over here, and then come over and go into the appointment area and office over in the block area.
And there's a nice pathway here. We don't want to have too many runway areas, but it's nice to be able to go from area to area. It's still defined by the blocks or the shelves, still defined by the shelves, but you can definitely tell that this is the house area and this is the block area.
The materials on this side of the house area, we've got the baby dolls and the dress-up type things over here, purses and wallets, baby clothing and dishes, and then we have some telephones and glasses and cameras and things like that that they would use for different types of dramatic play. In this part of the house area, we have the cooking type materials, so we have the stove and the refrigerator, the sink, food that they can use to cook with, and you can actually see they left some from the open house this morning. We've got dishes, and it's adult-sized dishes, so it's real dishes that they use from home that they're familiar with. Of course, the food items that they can use to pretend making different types of foods, all on these shelves. And you can see that they actually labeled again in sequence, either from smallest to largest or largest to smallest. This is our woodworking area, and Sue actually had a really neat idea last year, was to move the woodworking area close to the art area to see if kids would use some materials from the art area into the woodworking area, and they actually did. They followed through with that.
Glue and paint came between the two areas. At the beginning of the year, we're going to have a lot of styrofoam and real soft materials for children to hammer their nails into, and then we still have some small pieces of wood, but we expect that the styrofoam will be the thing that children will be really successful with. But still, we use real nails, real tools, because we know kids like to use real materials, feel like they're accomplishing something with the real materials. Just one thing, if you have a woodworking area, is you have to know your kids. If you've got children who you know won't be able to handle the materials, then you either have to be right there with them, monitoring them, or perhaps you wait and put it in later in the year.
Or introduce them during a small group time where you model how to use the materials so that kids aren't going to get hurt.
Yeah, and this is the one area where we want the tools to stay in the area. Most materials in our classroom, we encourage children to use them all in all different areas, but we want the tools to stay in this area because they're used specifically for woodworking, and we want them to.
And they're a little bit more dangerous than other materials, so we want them to be responsible just in this area. This is our art area, where we have lots of open-ended materials, again, for children to make their own structures and just kind of design and make their own ideas of what they want to represent. Paper, all different types of paper and cardboard, magazines, catalogs that they can look in. Real items, lids from various containers, to natural items like pine cones, cotton, and wood from outside, as well as scrap type material.
This is our art cart, and on one side we have all of our Play-Doh and clay materials. Play-Doh here, and this is our clay, the natural gray clay. And on the other side is our paper, scissors, and the glue and tape. And we try to organize things by function, so we have the things that you use to stick things with, the glue and the tape and the staplers on one side. You would find all the Play-Doh things in the Play-Doh area, on the Play-Doh side, the accessories. And then the things to draw with are up here, crayons and markers. And we've tried separating our crayons. It seems to work really well. Kids can find the color that they need, and it's a nice sorting activity as well. So.
And then over on this side is, of course, our paint, where they can access it themselves. We've got materials that they use, like paintbrushes, sponges, things like that on the bottom shelf, and the paint actually at their level that they can come over and get a cup, squeeze it out themselves, and pretty much take care of everything on their own. The paints that we have out are black and white, and then the primary colors, we're still getting some blue. And we choose just to use those colors because children can do a lot of investigating and discovery of the colors once they mix them together. And we find that that's very successful as they do it on their own instead of us giving them the colors.
One thing that we suggest is that, of course, you use tile on your flooring for the art area. It's easiest to clean up. And we found that we wanted to extend our art area, but we had carpet. So we found these office mats that go under the chairs, and we just put those down to extend the floor. So it's easy to clean up, and it made our art area a lot larger. So that's one thing that has helped us to allow kids to use the materials and have messy play, but at the same time make it easy for us to clean it up, or for them to clean it up too. And then also our sand and water we want to have on the tile as well, so that close to the sink, so that it's easy to clean up. Why else do we want to do it?
And children have easy access to pretty much help themselves to things that they need to wear for, like painting. These are aprons. All it is vinyl that's cut out with a hole in the middle. We found that it's pretty cheap and easy to replace if it gets really ruined. Easy access to washing their hands after they're done painting. So everything is accessible to them so that they can take care of their own responsibilities.